I am Medivh, and that means I am Ben Foster for some reason. Okay, going into this, I played literally over close to 20 years ago, if not more. I played Warcraft 2, The Tides of Darkness. I briefly played the one where Prince Arthas is in it, and I have seen someone play World of Warcraft, so that's all I know. And
I played Warcraft for about 2 weeks, sometime in 2009, because my roommates then were really, really into MMOs, like really into MMOs. And I'm like, oh, so for my birthday, so for Christmas, they got me Warcraft, Burning Crusade, and like a 2-month paid subscription card. But I had a little laptop that basically I could only really get to load it if I had it like sitting on a bed of frozen peas, like bags of frozen peas.
So and since she knows a lot about various fantasy, and I know a lot about, well, Warhammer and stuff, so if I accidentally start using Warhammer terminology, it's because Warhammer is far better than Warcraft, and god damn it, we will never see a Warhammer film.
So I just want to preface this with the fact that this was part of a double feature for us because it was half price day at the Omniplex on the Strand. So don't think that we went out and spent a shit ton of money to see this, because that's not the case.
Yeah, so
I think we actually spent more at like the pub getting dinner than we did.
Entirely possible. Yeah. So, the first of these 2 Backseat critiques, although this is the film is still second, so this is going to be the longer one because it's fresh out in our memory.
Yeah, but the first one I knew I'd have very little to say about anyway.
Yeah. But Warcraft, it's more Dungeons and Dragons than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, there was a lot of characters who responded exactly as NPCs respond when the DM needs to hit you over the head with something.
It's got less depth than Dragon Age 2.
Hey, I like Dragon Age 2.
That's your problem.
Shut up, that was really awesome.
It's got less depth than Dragon Age, the web series done by Felicia Day.
I care very deeply about Dragon. You know how deeply I care about Dragon Age? I have the symbol of Kirkwall on my arm.
The costumes...
Ignore the arm flub. I lost 4 stone.
Some of the costumes in this are worse than the ones in the Felicia Day Dragon Age web series.
Yeah, but some of the stuff's pretty good. I mean, I'll say what I usually say. It's pretty, but what isn't these days? I mean, the CGI was good.
The greatest bit of prettiness was the plasticanium armor.
I know. The Alliance armor, or the humans' armor really did look like plastic. It really did look like something.
The weapons.
And it
so like Power Rangers.
And a lot of the Foley was off too. So like when people were walking around in armor, it didn't clank, or when they were like, "Hey, friend," like it didn't make armor noise. So there's that. I can only remember a handful of the characters' names, not because they weren't engaging characters. Okay, they weren't engaging characters, but they all had very generic fantasy names. Yeah. And like there's this main little wizard guy, and I keep wanting to call him Cadfile, and I know that that's wrong.
I reckon he's just replace him with Jowan from Dragon Age Origins. Because, this Weasley little wormy wizard guy.
There were a lot of Dragon Age moments. Like, the symbol of the Guardian is basically the symbol of the Inquisition, like the eyes with the things. Or maybe, like, that's an actual Warcraft thing, and they stole it. There's a part where basically, like, this huge tower explodes out, and you can see, like, all this stuff happening. Like, the Conclave! The Divine was there!
And then the Medivh's place looked like the Circle Tower from Dragon Age.
It looked like Ostagar.
And yeah, Warcraft came well before Dragon Age, so if one's going to be derivative of the other...
I reckon it's...
most likely... Yeah, but Warcraft ripped everything off of Warhammer, and Warhammer ripped everything off of Lord of the Rings, so... Apparently the moral of the story is the original thing will get a movie, the rip-off will not, the rip-off will get a crap movie.
Apparently, my roommate said they spent like, $160 million on this?
Well, CGI looked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good CGI.
Some of the orcs looked almost like real people-ish, like Dr. Doomhammer.
Like the tusks look really like there wasn't any uncanny valley in the way that their mouths worked, and I was figuring
usually a couple of moments when they were like running or whatever, like a couple of times.
No, but I meant like that's the part that would be weird because they would have to do mocap with a regular person, unless they had the people actually stick things from their mouth. Like...
They probably didn't, because the voices did not reflect... They would have...
But not take the audio from that. Do the face mocap saying the line from their mouth, and then do the ADR later in a booth.
I doubt they did the ADR separately unless they had to. Because it's part of with the point of doing these sort of mocap characters is to get the voice and the performance together.
But what I'm saying is it looked good.
It did look good.
It looked good.
It did.
I mean, it looked better than some of the Lord of the Rings CGI.
Well,
it looked better than
that's like 15 years
Sith
old.
Lord Snoke? I don't know. Whatever.
Snoke, yeah.
The cave troll.
The CGI in the trailers looked really rough. It looked, crappiest in much of The Hobbit rough, but this one, the movie, better. Maybe it's just the big screen, I don't know.
Yeah. The lighting effects were really good.
What the fuck were the dwarves CGI?
I don't know, but they looked like they literally looked like they were extras from The Hobbit, like down to everything.
Oh, they look better than the dwarves from The Hobbit because they actually wore fucking armor.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
But why were they CGI? Why were the elves? Why were their eyes made of Tron?
Because apparently, you heard what Neil said.
Light battle, light bike, light cycle races in their fucking brain.
But this was every D&D campaign you've ever been in. Even down to the part where everyone's sitting around at camp telling you've drawn it out of me, but let me tell you my really dark history. Well, let me tell you my secret trauma. And one guy's like, okay. Because you know that you always have those players who, make the dark, tortured past that can't wait to tell you about it. Like, my bard was tortured and sodomized from age 3. Okay, that's great. Let me tell you. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Big question.
Roll initiative. What?
Okay, Orc world here. Human world here. Not together.
Yeah.
Open portal, orcs invade.
Yeah.
How the fuck is Gamora, or Guado color, half human? She was born on that side. Must have been 20-odd years before the portal was created.
That's what I wanted to know, because
there's a reason for this.
She spoke the language, there were those blue slaves with the horns, and they were like some other race. And she's like, oh, I speak their language, and they're the ones that taught me the human language. But was the orc world once populated by humans who then went on to that?
If I remember the game correctly,
about.
she was actually half elven in the original, and elves were in both worlds.
Okay,
and that's why she could talk. So she spoke elven. It was like something like that.
Yeah, because that was one thing that I was like, how? Okay. There was a lot of this that, you just assumed that you've played D&D, and I'm not even getting into Warcraft or Warhammer or any of that. Assumed that you were familiar with these tropes. The very powerful wizard, of course... Oh, spoilers, by the way. The very powerful wizard has turned evil and will betray us, because, of course, that's what happens. But, they had very little motivation on why this guy, this very powerful wizard, who didn't even look all that old, and who was friends with all the main NPCs, like the king and your man Lothar and all this stuff. By the way, I got corrupted by a demon and this evil dark magic, and I, totally corrupt... I'm just, I brought the orcs here.
I think he was talking about that sort of vaguely subtly when he was talking to, what do you call her?
Yeah, but the thing is that,
but
if it's vaguely subtle, it has to be kind of subtle in the right way.
The film kind of... It expects you to know what the fuck's going on through playing the game, because there's a guy called the Guardian, and they don't tell you what the fuck he defends the world somehow, but he could be a spirit in human form, he could be an avatar of a god, he could be a god, he could be just a really powerful mage. I think he's a meth addict.
He did look like a meth addict, really he did. Seriously.
And for some reason, why is there a fucking floating city of wizards, high in the sky, who refuse to go, who they don't even ask to come and deal with this world-destroying problem?
Oh, there's a portal to a bad world. You've just spoken with, the head oracle spirit.
Your boss has said it's a big problem, and yet we're not even going to ask you to come down. It's a literal unseen...
Everyone just, everyone takes for granted that your man, the wee mage, is, the chosen one of mages.
Yeah. It's like, you're not going to take my part. It's like, this guy didn't even become a full wizard. Why are you terrified of him? Shut up, Ben Foster.
It's just...
Stop, go.
And who's the guy that played the wee mage? Is he a famous person?
I don't know who that is.
But
Medivh was played by Ben Foster, who was the less crap of the two guys to play Angel in X-Men.
Well, I tell you what's weird and what's really jarring, and I feel like such a traitor saying this. American accents in fantasy, it's really jarring. It's just really weird. And... Dragon Age does it okay.
Because they were dwarves of American accents, some Canary of American accents. They sort of segregated it. They segregated it off, not entirely logically, but they segregated it off.
And that makes sense. The Canary would have a different accent when they speak the common tongue. The dwarves, well, from Orzammar anyway, would. I guess if the dwarf is on. Do
you remember my theory about that the Canary actually have a tag?
Yeah.
That maybe that's why they learned the common tongue in an American accent.
From the dwarf. Oh, that makes sense.
I'm a genius. Just thought of that.
And and the city elves, pretty much the only people that would slum it with them are probably surfacer dwarves, because they don't really have. Because surfacer dwarves will go to the cities, and work there, they don't really have this idea that elves are somehow lesser than humans.
That's possible. Although with city elves, I really wish they'd just given them the accent of the local area.
Yeah. Well, no, because city elves from Orlais speak with a French accent. And, what's his face? Zevran spoke with an Antivan accent.
Yeah, I wish
so it
they'd
might
done that
just
across
be
the
in
board.
Ferelden.
Okay.
So, sorry, we're actually not talking
There's an
about
unseen university of mages. A literal unseen university. Well, only because it's really far away and you have to
it's
look
like,
up
yeah,
and see
my
it.
parents, sold me to, like, the mages. But, like, how
I
did
became a Jedi.
Yeah, then how did he know, they know, like, oh, it was really prestigious to give one of your children to the mages. But, like, he says, oh, just because I'm not training as a mage anymore doesn't mean I don't have any of my abilities. So, like, did he always have magical abilities? Like,
I think they didn't remove the learning from his brain. He learned how to do some stuff.
Okay. I like better the idea that magic is something innate and some people have it and some people don't. I also believe in Spearman's G. Google it. But anyway.
There was a Blackbeard orc played by Clancy Brown who was like, I'm the Kurgan motherfucker and I got a beard.
And so the queen is the sister of Lothar, who I guess, or Lobar, what was it? Lothar. Who was, I guess, the head general of the army. And they were siblings, but they were different, obviously different ethnicities.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then you had this one knight who was kind of there for some of it as an extra knight, and I called him Sir Person of Color, because, like, literally...
He did seem to be the only one.
Yeah, him and the Queen were, like, literally the only non-white people in Stormwind.
I noticed there was a couple of Asians, and there was an Asian elf who had, like, a scar on his face.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
And I'll tell you...
Does that mean that all Asian elves are martial artists?
I have no idea.
If you're an Asian elf, write the show.
But he's called Lothar, and his sister's, his sister is sort of, I think she's mixed race, possibly half black, half white. I don't know. I do not know the actress.
Maybe it's his stepsister. Maybe he has the same father, or like the mother. Oh, careful.
I'm sorry. I have a theory.
What's your new theory?
Well, Lothar was the best friend of Mandrake the magician. He was black, so obviously he went through a portal. Thanks to Mandrake, and Mandrake ended up becoming Medivh, and then Lothar, through the magical portal, became white.
Who the fuck are you talking about?
Lothar and Mandrake, 1930s comic characters, and from Defenders of the Earth.
About.
And then, this
bashed against the thing with the lotion, and you're putting your shirt all over.
I'm sorry. It makes perfect sense. I mean, skin changing color magically in this has precedence because the orcs all start off sort of
grayish.
Yeah, grayish, Kunari colored.
Yeah.
And then they end up green. So, this is obviously what happened. Lothar, this is actually Defenders of the Earth spin-off.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But, yeah, so,
I don't know why his sister
all of
went.
it has very vague motivation that wouldn't really hold up outside of a D&D campaign. Like, I totally turned evil, and then I summoned the orcs to this
I'm not telling you why.
Reasons that are unknown to me, or you, or anybody.
I don't remember doing it. I assume I had good reasons.
You have to betray everybody. That's the only way to save us. No, I don't want to.
Hey, look, we got a giant Pandorica motherfucking thing, and then I walk inside, and suddenly it's a dark room.
Oh, I'm the chosen one somehow.
And you got this old woman in a CGI cloak. The CGI cloak effect was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That was, good work, Duncan Jones. But
everything was just. I mean, it was good, but I don't know. I felt if I'd been playing this in a campaign, I would have been like, yeah, that was a pretty cool, that was pretty standard, good job with the NPCs. But hey, listen, I've been in some really fucked up D&D campaigns, okay? I have been in D&D campaigns where couples have split up out of character during Listen, I've seen some shit.
This has less depth than Dragon Age 2.
Shut up, Dragon Age 2 is awesome. But we like Sword and Sorcery, though. I mean, we like high fantasy. I mean, that's why we know these tropes. That's why we go see it,
This is no Hawk the Slayer.
Ours are the eyes of the armored brow.
This is no Krull. This is no Sorceress.
80s stuff. I mean, like the fun stuff.
Do you want me to keep listing them?
This
is not,
This is no Bikini.
Dragon Warriors.
That doesn't count. It's a comedy.
Starring Adam Johnson and Luke Perry and James fucking Marsters. Seriously, guys, look up the trailer for Dragon Warriors. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, but they're taking the piss.
The star's one of my favorite Mormon actors.
Oh, for Christ's sake. But
is this LDS fantasy?
I guess what I didn't like was it felt kind of very much. I mean, we knew that it was a prequel. I mean, it's called Warcraft The Beginning, but at the end they're like, oh, for Azeroth, and then all of a sudden everyone in unison is like, for the Alliance that we just came up with right now.
Yes, what do you call? What's the term that was used? This bullshit thing that was created for Tribulation and used in a couple other things, and used in Torchwood Miracle Day, where it's like everyone suddenly comes up with the same idea at once. Morphic field.
Oh.
Through a morphic field, they came up with the Alliance.
Like, for the Alliance! And I later said, for the franchise! Because that's basically what it felt like. Oh, we will create many! You're like, oh, your son will go on to be in many movies after this.
The speaker Luke is like, Warcraft, the beginning, because we're so convinced this is going to go well, and it won't.
Who's the protagonist? You decide. Like, literally, there was no protagonist in this film. The party was the protagonist. Like, half the protagonists in them
Not
dead.
just that, there wasn't a POV character, so
yeah.
We're completely lost unless you played the fucking game or you have a wiki in front of you. I mean, I'm gonna look up the wiki and discover stuff. Discover
you'll probably be
who the
texting
fuck
me like
Goldar was, and why he was running away from Rita Repulsa, because it's totally all suited with Power Rangers. Because I've seen the armor in this; it does look like Power Rangers armor.
And like everyone's like, you betrayed me. No, but I decided not to betray you. Oh, you betrayed me. You have no honor. Oh fuck. And like there was gonna be rebellion of the orcs like 3 different times, and there wasn't. And I was just like,
Tony Stark's dad wasn't very good.
I want to say it's called Grunts. I think it's called Grunts by Mary Gentile. Look it up. It's about a whole bunch of orcs that stumble upon, for some reason, a cache of marine weapons, like helicopters and bazookas. And they manage to figure out how to ward themselves against light energy, and they become like a mercenary company. Like they lend themselves out to the highest bidder.
Sounds like the samurai movie we saw. What the military unit goes back in time to the samurai times, a bit like that, where they made modern weaponry.
It's a good book.
This one she's called Mary Gentile.
Gentile.
I really hope she converts to Judaism. That would be awesome.
Gentile. I think that's how you. It's either Gentile or Gentile, whatever. But look it up. I enjoyed it. It was a good book.
She should convert to Judaism. That would be funny.
I know it would be funny, but yeah. So I mean. That's our feeling. I kind of want to play the sword and sorcery. I mean, it is terrible too because like I like the idea of magic. I like the idea of mages and stuff. But like whenever it's that character creation screen, male, dwarf, warrior every time. I don't know why. That's my go-to class, race, and species, or class, gender and species. You play everything.
Yeah.
You make bastard playthroughs. You're like, oh, the when you're supposed to save the orphanage and all the puppies? Oh yeah, it's a really great mission. I killed them all.
Well, yeah, just because I kill Connor every time in Dragon Age. And
no, save him. You can save him.
There's a lot of people you can kill that you don't realize you can kill.
I'm a good person.
And then drastically,
I'm the hero.
In the
I am Link. It is dangerous to go alone. Take this.
In the Shrine of...
I picked up the sword and I answered the call every single time.
In the Shrine of Sacred Ashes in Dragon Age Origins, she didn't realize that you can actually kill the guardian spirit who's talking to you do it.
Because I follow instructions.
I'm like, yeah, you can kill him. You just don't take off your armor. Just walk through the fire and stab the fucker in the head.
I follow instructions.
You get some XP.
Yeah, but you lose your soul.
I don't need a soul. I got magical, curing ashes. I'm fine. And I got infinite.
Oh,
continues.
And you know what really, really, really let me down? Really let me down about the Horde? There was no teabagging. Nobody got teabagged. I was led to believe it's an integral part of Warcraft. Nobody got teabagged.
I'm gonna do a Warcraft in 5 seconds, which is totally gonna be the guy Lothar on a fucking hippogriff, griffin, whatever.
It was just a regular griffin.
Flying down there with his fucking sword out there, ready to kill everything in order to save his king's body, screaming Leroy Jenkins. That's gonna be the entire thing.
Leroy Jenkins.
And later on, it's just like they have to get the king to safety. So earlier on, they had to get the king to safety, and they're like, "Here, take one of my birds." It's like.
Why do you have... What? And it is huge, like, eagle. Like, where were you keeping that?
The wizard had a bunch of giant eagles shoved up his fucking ass while he was unconscious after critting a lightning storm.
I had a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, I guess if you're... it's one of those movies, I guess if you're a true fan, your boner's still stiff, like, 4 days later, but, like...
It's just so much...
There was just, I think I probably should have read the prequel novel. Because there's a prequel novel out. We have it at my shop.
Don't read the novel.
No, but I probably should have read it before this so I could have been prepared. Or at least read the wiki.
I'm going to look at the wiki after finished. Because I'll be interested just to see if this can make sense, but...
Well, Film Brain said on Twitter that it's basically pretty but kind of boring, and we read that tweet as we were literally sitting in the cinema waiting for it to start. I told him so, and he replied, "I hope you brought a pillow." I was worried you'd fall asleep, though.
It wasn't very good.
No, but we didn't see it for full price, and it was entertaining. I was entertained. Oh, you know what I did like? I did like how whenever he's doing magic, it's like symbols and geometrical things are going on.
That was Doctor Strange type magic.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. I thought that was a cool effect.
Have you showed off your new tattoo?
Oh, I got a new tattoo today. Look, it's right there. It is. I can't really see it because there's displays that we can see on the screen that you can't. There we go. It's the Greek symbol psi, and it's because I'm gonna be a psychologist. Everyone's like, Babylon 5 reference. I'm like, no, even nerdier than that.
You see, Omega is either top or second in her class because she's a genius. Tell her she's a genius.
Yeah. For the horde of undergrads.
For the billions who will not see this film.
Probably.
I'm not expecting
Most of
a sequel.
Africa will not see this film.
I'm not expecting a sequel. I thought they were really, really...
yeah, they were basically setting it up for the franchise. And
that is a bad idea because name me a video game movie that had a good sequel. Not even just a good video game movie, because I know those are few and far between, but one that got a sequel and the sequel was good. I cannot think of any.
What were some good video game movies?
Mortal Kombat 1.
Because now I'm having a hard time thinking of anything except the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay, well, see, good for video game movies, because, you know, good, say, would be the top 20%.
Okay. So
it's going to have a lower level of good than, say, Holocaust dramas directed by Steven Spielberg.
Fair play.
So the top 20%, Mortal Kombat, probably Tomb Raider, even though it was crap by any reasonable yardstick, but by video game movies, okay. You could probably make the same argument about Resident Evil, even though that was shit. Ratchet & Clank apparently isn't utterly terrible.
I'm not a big fan of the franchise.
I want to know why Duncan Jones, I've never seen any of his stuff before this. Apparently he's good. He did Moon and Source Code. Apparently his stuff is either good or passable. And he decided to do this. Okay, random. And then you got Justin Kurzweil, who did Macbeth with Fassbender and did... I forget the name of his for Snowtown. Something like that. I haven't got it. I've got a copy. I haven't watched it yet. And his stuff is really striking and good looking. I've seen his Macbeth, and he's doing Assassin's Creed. And I'm like, but I'm guessing these are just young, good directors who just happen to grow up with video games and decide.
Who are tempted by the lure of studio money.
I think it's less to that. I think it's more to do with they like these video games, and so they wanted to make a film. Like someone making an adaptation of their favorite cartoon or a book they like. I think we're finally getting the first generation of people who see video games as the potential for adaptive art.
Well, the thing is that I would totally watch an Assassin's Creed movie if it was 90% in the past and 10% in the future.
Which apparently this is not.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I like the runny, jumpy, stabby parkour, but, I mean...
Because the
part walking around talking to your coworkers in the water.
Because if you look at the video game movies made in the 90s, up until, say, about 4 or 5 years ago, how many of them were very accurate to the source? Very few.
Yeah.
You know, vague argument for Resident Evil and Tomb Raider, but even they took massive liberties. But these new ones, Ratchet & Clank apparently is fairly accurate. This is apparently very accurate. Assassin's Creed looks very accurate. It's like they're finally, like with Marvel, where they're doing the source material, they're doing the same thing here. And that's good on one level, but it's also still shit.
When are we going to see a Yoshi's Cookie movie? That's what I want.
I want a Dragon Age TV show. 1 season per game.
I would watch that. I really would.
Because Dragon Age's story is long, unlike what I've noticed of the Warcraft ones, although limited experience with Warcraft. Mm-hmm. So
I would watch like a Dragon Age show if each season was set in a different age.
Well, I'm thinking that each game is a season.
Yeah, no, but you could do like leading up to the games, and like start with like Andraste and everything. I would watch that.
With Andraste or whatever.
But you'd have to start right after Andraste in case there's some secrets they don't want to reveal.
Or more likely, because if you're going to adapt Dragon Age, you have to start off with one of the games. Mm. So that would probably be something. If it's already a success, go back and do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So that's what we thought about that. And you can tell us in the comments how wrong we are. Be like, no, see, because what you don't understand is that the Guardian just thinks and stuff. And I'll be like, alright, sorry about that.
Yeah, by the time you've commented, I will have read this stuff, because I will read this before this video goes up.
I won't. I have to get up early. I have to go into uni.
I will discover why a lot of this shit happened, and I will still think it's not a very good choice to not explain stuff. You know, okay, although I really can't talk, because if I got the budget, I would totally make a Warhammer 40,000 film that is incomprehensible to anyone who doesn't play the game.
Well, there you
I
go.
would.
And then, but you'd get in trouble for losing studio money because you have to,
The film exists,
I
though.
said when in the Avengers vlog, which I don't even know if it's on my, it's probably somewhere on my YouTube channel somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I filmed it in 70s Vision because I had a filter that did that. But like, it's the job of the adaptation to make it bankable, to make it someone who's like, Warcraft, well, I don't know anything about it, but swords, armor, that looks cool. You have to bring people in, not like be like, this is for fans only, okay?
See, you know, I would go so far as to irritate a lot of fans and how I'd film it too.
Oh, gee, of course you would, because
I would have the
it's your job to irritate people, and that's why you have no friends.
I would have the dialogue written in Shakespearean-ish sounding stuff.
Of course
I would film it like fucking Sin City to make it look like the very, very old White Dwarf illustrations of what the Space Marines, their world looked like. I'm talking like the 25-year-old one that was severely fucked up. Make everything stark black and white with bits of colour. And then I would hire 50 heavy metal bands to do the soundtrack, get an orchestral score, and give it to 50 bands and make them be an orchestra of heavy metal. And then,
I have a headache just thinking about
and
that.
then, for each race, I would have different kinds of chanting in different languages. Orcs get Swedish. The Space Marines get Latin, etc., etc.
How long have you thought about this?
You do not want to know.
I don't want to know.
And then the movie.
You love Warhammer more than me.
The movie. I prefer Warhammer over 40k, but 40k would be a more striking movie. And then the movie. It would be the fucking Horus Heresy.
There's like a million novels in that.
It would be like 4 hours long.
I went through and I zoned at the end of science fiction once, at the last Barnes & Noble I worked, and I just pulled out what Beep for Return. I pulled out over 90 Horus Heresy novels. They were all different. I'm not talking multiple copies of the same one.
Well,
that was only still half of the ones that we had.
The Horus Heresy is essentially a very, very epic sci-fi retelling of the War in Heaven. But with God being the Emperor, who has created all these clones, which are his children. And like a bunch of them go and join the evil gods, and so they all have a civil war, and they bring their legions of genetically engineered super soldiers with them.
I'm bored already.
So.
But we saw Warcraft. It was alright. See it half price, or if you get the DVD on the cheap, we won't judge.
Yeah. I'm not expecting a sequel.
For the franchise. Aww.